It's great because as soon as I say we're about to go live, Mark's camera goes blurry. But hi, welcome everyone to episode 284 of the Chumpcast. Brick, welcome back. How was California?
Cali was great. San Fran, got them rolling hills going. Got to see the Golden Gate Bridge. Great tour. Great tour guide. Ashley, shout out. Met her family for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
They liked me, I think. So
Why?
that's good.
Okay.
I don't know either. So
why?
You know, just kept it real. It's about as
Do you
real
usually
as it gets.
plan your vacations around seeing a bridge?
Absolutely. Got to cross it. We did specifically take the route to go across the Golden Gate Bridge because why the hell wouldn't you? We're coming.
Did you
from
drive up
Sonoma.
through the redwoods and all that?
Yeah,
that's
a lot
a cool
of
area.
redwoods. We didn't go too far north. We were in started out in Sacramento, went to Old Town Sacramento, which is like a really cool Western. They still have the Western building set up over there. And then her mom lives a little bit outside of Sac. They call it Sac over there. Also, I was calling it San Fran. They're just like, ugh.
Oh, they don't. Nobody says San Fran.
Nobody
call
says
it?
San Fran. SF
Frisco?
or
Get
San
fucked.
Francisco.
You're saying, ugh.
Nobody says Frisco. It's San Francisco
Nobody
or
says-
SF. Yeah,
Yeah, nobody says Frisco either.
it's a Midwest thing. San
It is a
Fran.
Midwest thing.
We're
San
calling it
Fran.
San Fran forever. I'm leaning into it. Just like
I
how
know.
Joe couldn't stop saying Mario. We had to just you got to push through, man.
That was great.
Mario. Yeah.
So we should probably cover that because Joe technically, well, not technically, he did win the draft based on the Twitter poll. I think that all of his listeners obviously voted for him and we were fucked. But the important thing here is that Mark still came in last
Excellent.
because Mark,
I'm not surprised by that.
Your draft was trash.
It was not that good. It's
As
all
soon
right.
as you threw in Prince of Persia, I was like, oh, God.
Once I went the Prince of Persia route, I was doomed. Speaking of doom, I picked that one too, and that was not a great pick either.
Brick, do
It's a
you
hard
have
draft.
Yeah,
It's
it
a hard
is.
draft.
I want to
There's
ask,
just
is there
not much out there?
Is there something you like that didn't make it in one of the teams?
Did Rampage get picked?
It did not.
Rampage probably would have been up there just because the Rock's in it. You get the Rock in there. Just
It's-
a bunch of giant animals crushing things.
Not great, though. I think Jumanji would have been a better pick. I don't know technically if that counts, but
It's
more of a
it was
board game
based off of a
movie.
movie. It was a board game.
No, it was a movie, then
based
they
off
made
a
the board game.
Exactly. So that couldn't have counted.
Yeah, that
Because then you
makes
could have
sense.
gotten into Ready Player One because that's a game. It's a video game world.
Free Guy. Yeah.
Right. I think you guys did it right by sticking to the source material was the game first, which is it's a way harder draft. Next time we do a draft, we're doing games we want made.
Okay.
Do you think the new Mortal Kombat should have been fourth pick for any of us? Maybe for me.
Yeah, no, the new Mortal Kombat was actually entertaining. I thought they did a really good job playing homage to the games, and it wasn't super cheesy or anything like that.
But there is
I
no
liked
Mortal
it.
Kombat.
But
Yeah,
they're setting it up for a sequel to do the Mortal Kombat tournament.
That's the thing is these older movies, they knew they were only going to get one shot at it. So when I drafted Street Fighter, they didn't think they'd ever get to make Legend of Chun-Li, and also they don't really tie together at all because that movie is terrible and then it was never going to get a sequel.
Was Blanca in that movie?
Oh yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
Google the prosthetics for that. It's basically they just spray painted a dude green. Pretty
Amazing.
hilarious.
Don't even need to look at it, and gave him an orange wig.
Yes. So Mark, I'm the only one who did not leave the state of Illinois, or their home state, I guess, this week. What were you doing? You just wanted to get the fuck away?
I was staying in Hollywood, Florida, which is essentially Fort Lauderdale, pretty much.
I'd say it's basically Alabama, but
yeah, it was fun. All we did, Nolan came with us, and it revolved around him for the most part. So woke up early, had breakfast in our Airbnb, which was just in a condominium, like a giant condo place, like the ones you saw in Miami that were just crumbling, which is also scary because all the buildings look really similar. Like they were all developed in the 80s where everyone was just on a bunch of cocaine and just trying to pump out these buildings, and because there was just a flood of people wanting to move to the Miami area. The place was pretty nice. We would go down to the beach during the day. Then it was nap time. Some days he would nap in the stroller, thankfully. So
and that's when you got hammered, right?
Then I would just sit there and get hammered. I read more pages of any book I've read in the last ever.
Nothing better than drunk reading.
I read 40 straight pages of a book, and I stopped at one moment. I'm just like, what the fuck just happened?
Who am I? There aren't even pictures in this. What are you reading?
I know. Are you, can you even call yourself a parent, though, if you don't go to some resort type place where your kid's there and when they fall asleep, you pick up your book and start reading? You can't really do that.
I mean, you fall asleep reading your book while your kid naps because you're exhausted.
Yeah. But you need a book in hand, is what I'm saying. Like, you can't really call yourself a poolside parent unless you have a book in hand.
I just figured you'd be sitting there with a comic book.
I've been playing too much Pokemon, but officially Mark has evolved into the first form of a dad, like having a book, reading 40 pages and be like, whoa, where am I?
Just waiting
like
for
evolved into a dad.
All white air monarchs.
I did buy what is it? Arceus? How do you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Arceus?
It's Arceus.
Arceus. Okay. I did buy that game, and I did start up my Switch for the first time in almost a year, and I brought it on the plane where I played most of it. It's pretty cool.
The first hour is just torture.
Yeah.
Whoever said
what's with that one chick? Resting bitch face chick.
Celine? Yeah, she's
Celine?
mean.
Yeah. Come on.
Honestly, dude, the first hour of that game was a slog. Just so much dialogue that you have to read because they can't get good audio on the Switch, and it's I could have skipped through all of that. Like, they should just be an option. Like, do you want the bullshit or do you just want to go catch some fucking Pokemon?
Don't forget to open the Pokedex and look at the tasks. I'm like,
thank you.
You said that 3 times already. I see them there. Don't worry.
I got through the first probably like 25-30 minutes of it like the day before my trip because I knew all that would be such bullshit to like sit on the plane and just press X throughout the whole thing
a million times.
It just like game aired me, and so I had to do it all again, and I was just like, I might just return this game. Like, fuck this.
Are you happy you stuck with it though?
Absolutely. I beat it officially.
Okay.
It translates well because originally the Pokemon creator, the reason he made it was for like he used to run around outside and like catch Pokemon and like, or not Pokemon, he used to run around and catch animals and like used to study them and stuff like that. So
sounds like a psycho.
Right. So he felt that the gym leaders and like all the Pokemon battles have kind of, they went a different route than he originally intended, I guess. It kind of got a little out of hand. So the fact that he wanted more just like the catching and studying of Pokemon in this one, like surprisingly translates well because it's such a different format from the previous games.
Right. I like that it is something that's different. And I think this is honestly kind of a refresher where I can go back now. And they actually just announced today 2 new actual Pokemon games that'll be, you know, like you're a trainer, you battle and shit like that. So what is it, like Scarlet and something else? So it's nice that you can divert every now and then, but you still know what your tent pole is, and it's those games that everybody loves. I remember, like a month and a half ago, you and I were arguing about this because you were saying that Switch doesn't have good games.
Right.
And I was arguing that Pokemon is literally the biggest franchise in the world.
That's true, but like nowadays, when you play the other Pokemon versions of it, a lot of the battle is so like the similar, and like they have all the action sequences take freaking forever, and it's just like, this is kind of boring in my opinion. That's why it's just the same thing, same formula over and over again, and it's just like hasn't really changed since 1998. I feel
you and I are polar opposites in that aspect, though. Like, I have to finish everything in a game, and I feel like you just want to blow through these games and be like, I got to check this off my list.
Right, to a certain extent, that is true, only because I'm borrowing Starkey's PlayStation 5, and I kind of like, I'm not going to sit there and 100% all these games while he's just like waiting to get it back.
I mean, if one is good enough, though, shouldn't you?
I wanted to 100% Ghost of Tsushima, and I pretty much damn near did. So I felt like there was a couple of things that in the DLC that I like could have done, but I was like, I'm fine not doing the archery challenges that they had. Like I do a percentage that I feel like I completed the game without
You didn't
having
miss
to go
any of the
through
story.
go through all like the bullshit. And this one, like Pokemon, technically I beat it, but I'm still on the last mission with the myths, the Pokemon myths. Have you gotten to that point yet or no?
Nope.
So you beat the game, and then there's like an
I have
added
not.
mission
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
afterwards.
Yeah.
There's just an added mission afterwards where you have to catch all the Pokemon Classic, which is what you want to do. But it is still fun. I will be going back and trying to catch probably all of them if I can.
I don't even know how many there
close.
are.
I think there's like 230.
That's not that bad.
Exactly.
I think I'm at like
already have
150 already.
Exactly. I have probably, I think I'm at like 190, maybe a little less. But it's fun. I saw my first shiny in the wild for the first time.
Did you actually catch it?
I caught it. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
It was great. And I was like, oh shit. I just see one in the wild. I was just like, whoa. And you were in the chat with me and you're like, don't fuck this up. Turn off autosave. Save it right now.
Yep.
Figure it out. And I was like, perfect. Caught it on the first try.
up.
Didn't even battle it. I was like, boop. Ultra Ball. Peace, bitch.
It's kind of great.
You know what I don't... Go ahead.
ahead.
I was just going to say, you know what I don't appreciate with the game is all these dudes that want you to go on their side quest for him. Like there was this one guard and he's like, can you go get me a Wurmple? I want it to evolve and be my pet. And I'm like, okay, what am I getting? He's like, come back and you'll get a reward. What reward am I getting? Like, I'm not just going to go out there miles to get your fucking Wurmple. And then I came back. I caught his Wurmple. I get back there. I hand it to the guy. He's like, oh, here's 3 apples. Thanks, dude. I really appreciate it. I'm just kind of pissed. They don't tell you the reward.
You can.
This is Mark.
Actually do tell you the reward. If you look at it, if you press the minus button and go to the map, look at your missions, it shows you the reward that you're going to get.
Oh, does it?
Mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I really just appreciate that Mark is like Mark in the video game is the same as Mark in real life. Like, what am I getting out of this? Fuck you.
Fuck your Wurmple, man.
My one gripe was that fucker who's like, you want to figure out how to add more stuff into your bag? That'll be $1,000 and I'll figure out how to make more room in your bag. And he organizes it. And then immediately afterwards, like, you want to figure out how to add one more item in your bag? That'll be $2,000. It's like, all right, you fuck. Just
supply and demand. Think about how much extra. Okay. It's the same bag. Okay. And he can continuously keep adding things. Obviously, that's more and more complicated. I think it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but if you're truly good at your craft, I guess fine. The Joker said it himself. If you're good at anything, don't do it for free. But also, don't be a fucking dick and charge me $20,000 to add one more item into my fucking bag after asking to do it for 20 times.
Are they dollars in Pokemon World, or are they some other type of Pokemon
some currency?
Yeah, I don't remember what they call it. But it's a nice little escape game, and it's good for if I'm watching a basketball game, I can have it on in the background, and that's it. But it's really nice that we can focus on shit like that and not the real stuff that's going in the world like right now, which is super fucked up. I honestly can't believe that we are like this close to what could be catastrophe in not having a baseball season.
Right.
I picked up on that joke, Smithers. I get your comedy. Brick, on the other hand, is like, wait, what baseball team are we
where's he going with this? Yeah.
Baseball just sucks. That's just another evolved form of Mark turning into a dad. Oh, I do like baseball now. 9 innings.
That's funny.
Pretty boring.
Yeah. Brick, as our resident historian expert, at what point does Putin end up in a bunker with a cyanide pill?
Ooh, hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, he's wild, man.
Did you hear the news that came out today? He's like getting the nukes ready. This
is all Sun Tzu Art of War type shit. Everybody knows it. You could have written this down exactly how it was going to happen a month ago. Yeah, and a lot of people did.
Now.
Yeah.
It's brutal because it's all about his pathetic ego at this point, because Ukraine is strong and just actually holding off these Russian fucking invaders. It's awesome to hear that they're actually like holding their own. I'm really happy to hear that they're actually like, there's so many different stories that are coming out that are just like, the mayor's a fucking badass. Like everybody from Ukraine is just literally badass as fuck. I'm happy in that regard. It's also rallying the world together to a certain degree, because there's clearly a villain involved here.
I know.
We haven't had that since Hitler,
COVID.
obviously. Yeah.
I mean,
and
COVID
I
should
guess.
have been the thing that probably brought us all together, but no, we had to put a
Better.
face on it.
We isolated and all got all weird and shit.
It's
But-
people don't realize how long Putin's actually been in power, and that the Russian Constitution says that he shouldn't still be in power, but he's just like, I don't care. That's just a piece of paper. He's truly gangster, but
Yeah.
it's going to get him killed, and rightfully
It
so,
is.
because you're fucking a lot of stuff up, dude.
Oh, big time. I did like that Elon Musk like moved his like SpaceX ship over Ukraine so that they didn't lose any internet.
Starlink. So
Yeah,
Starlink
there you
is
go.
his like supposed to be his free internet service, and he owns like 272 satellites that are partially up and operational. And this is an easy PR move for him, because the last bit of news that came out about him is that he killed a bunch of chimps trying to put computer chips in their brains. So yeah, I would say that this was this was timely for him.
Yeah, no, it's still like fuck yeah, good PR move, but also good move in general because that's just helping when you can where you can.
I mean, can you
Also-
imagine being there and not having internet? It'd be terrible. It'd be the worst possible scenario.
But people can then get these videos out of what the hell is actually going on over there. So it actually is pretty huge to have that outlet. And also, I heard,
Yeah, totally
I know,
being
I know.
glib.
I also heard there was a rumor that like Anonymous hacked into Russia and like started posting out all the videos of what's actually going on because they're like all the blinders that
They
have been put
hacked-
on in the Russian media and stuff.
A bunch of their state websites and stuff, so they took down a ton of the propaganda machine. But they're also like freezing funds. They released email, phone numbers, and addresses for like high up Russian officials. It's wild. But
That is
shout out to
crazy.
the Ukrainians, man. Certain movie tropes, obviously, you can't believe, but we've always been shown that these Eastern Bloc people are just like tough as nails. Goddamn, they're all out there like taking out tanks, and so the stories are incredible. Like breweries that have stopped brewing beer so that they can make Molotov cocktails for
Amazing.
citizens. Just like, and all these stories that are coming out that I guarantee we're gonna get movies about, like the ghost
Sean
of.
Penn's out there. Sean Penn's out there doing the documentary. Somebody's gotta, I guess.
Hey, everybody, look at me! I'm Sean Penn.
Yeah,
that's.
yeah. I haven't
yeah.
had any publicity in forever. Here, this is my chance.
I mean, that's his MO, but they're calling like pilots the ghost of Kiev and all this other shit. Just it's metal as fuck, and it's horrifying, but at the same time super entertaining. So hopefully the good guys come out on top. But
I appreciated that, like,
champion.
champion. He was like a world champion. He was a Ukrainian boxer, and he just signed up. Like, he is in full uniform now, fighting, which is pretty
Wild.
badass. It's like
Ver-
he was one of the most famous people, supposedly, from Ukraine, because he was, I think he was a heavyweight champion boxer, and now he's like, no,
I
time to
got a
fucking go
verbal
to
meme.
war.
I got a verbal meme for you.
let's go.
We got Kramer and Newman sitting on a train planning out the invasion of Ukraine, and that Ukrainian guy on the train, after hearing all the plans, the Ukraine is strong, and fucks up the
Ukraine's
board.
strong.
And
Yes.
just, the board goes everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Good Lord. Okay. Well, stay safe out there, everybody. But let's get back to what we do best.
News to us.
what's that?
Absolutely nothing for the most part, but we can talk about some movie trailers. So it was a slow week, but Mark kind of went back through the archives, and I appreciate this, and pulled out some trailers that came out that we would have talked about last week had there not been awesome trailers, but there were a lot of awesome trailers. So because obviously that was Super Bowl weekend and cool shit. So let's just start with what I think is the biggest hype movie with the most potential to fail. These biopics about musicians really hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
What one would you say has been a miss recently?
I know that Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury, like the movie was okay, like good, but they completely glossed over some of the biggest parts of his life, and I don't know. The Elton John one was pretty good.
That is
But-
the one I wasn't that a big. I like the Rami Malek one more than Kieran Edgerton's Elton John movie.
I'm curious about this because, like, if one of my, say, great aunts who lives down in Missouri saw this, she should be really excited, right? Because, you know, I hear the stories from my mom, like her older sister when they were growing up would have Elvis on the TV and my grandma would yell at her to turn it off because he was shaking his dick around on stage.
There
But
are so many close-ups of the crotch shot for Elvis.
people
in
were
this
up in
trailer.
arms about it, man. In the 50s, it was a big deal, which is about the dumbest thing ever. But it was a big deal. And what I think that a lot of those people, those southern Memphis area baby boomers, are not gonna like is that Elvis is very much with the black community, and I'm not sure that they're gonna like very much that this movie is going to accurately depict that he was inspired by black musicians,
And that's
that
where rock and roll came from.
Exactly. But a lot of people don't like to recognize that, so that'll be interesting to see. Mark, what do you think about this portrayal of Elvis and Tom Hanks in a fat face suit?
Yeah, that's obviously one of the first things you'll notice is how fat Tom Hanks looks. But Austin Butler, I think, looks really good as Elvis.
What else
I think that's the one thing they're getting right with these biopics is whether it be with prosthetics or makeup, they do get these actors to look pretty spot on to what whoever the biopic is on what musician it is. And I think they're going to do it with Timothy Chalamet coming up with Bob Dylan. I think he's going to look just like him. But this looks like it's going to focus on, you know, what influenced Elvis growing up and kind of his rise to fame and how influential he was on just people and changing where rock and roll is going to lead in the years to come with these icons that would come out of the woodworks like the Beatles and things like that, where you had flocks of females just lining up and going absolutely fucking crazy for these people to perform. And Elvis was, I think, the pioneer in doing that.
Yeah. I mean, totally true. Completely influential. Surprised that this movie hasn't already been made, but I think we are in the golden age of the biopic for, you know, old time musicians and shit. Do you think that they get to the point where they show him as a fat guy who dies on the toilet?
I think we do see a little bit of that in the trailer towards the end. He doesn't look ridiculously fat, but you can tell he's sweating more and more. Most likely not because of him performing, but his diet and his diabetes. I think he just had a terrible diet from my understanding. I think we'll get that, but not much of it.
You probably got it from Tom Hanks' character.
Yeah, right.
Contagious from how fat he looks in that fat suit, dude.
But they put it on his face and they didn't. His face is fatter than his body is. It looks very uneven.
I will say the costume design in this looks pretty awesome too. I think they're going to really hit that pretty hard because Elvis did have all those, you know, awesome suits and just way
Bright
over the top
pink,
glamour.
Pink Cadillacs.
Exactly.
I do. They showed him completely just bodying a dude in the front row. the guy tells him like comb his hair, you sissy, and then he just starts jamming out, and all the girls go crazy for him, and it's just like, dude, you just got fucking wrecked.
Yeah, like you're paying attention to the wrong hair. He's just like pubic hair and just like thrusting his dick left and right. This man should go to jail.
I mean, there were really those people out there, so fucking weirdos.
Yeah, crazy.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say people are specking on the very first shot of this trailer is it's with Captain Marvel Jr. He's reading a Captain Marvel Jr. comic book, so people are specking online that there's going to be some form of Captain Marvel Jr. showing up in the years to come as like a new superhero movie.
If anything, they need to tie Elvis together with the Fast and Furious franchise.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
He's family now. All right. We should talk about this teaser for the final installment of Ozark. So this is the end, and this is completely focused on Ruth, who I would argue at this point has become the protagonist of the show, which I love because she's an excellent actor. Have either of you checked out Inventing Anna or whatever?
I saw the first episode maybe, and she just has like the oddest accent of all time. It's like German kind of, but like I don't know. But yeah, okay. It's fine.
What about my thought on her becoming the protagonist? You got any arguments for or against it?
Well, it seems like Marty and Wendy are like they were at the very tail end of getting out of it, and now it's all focused on Ruth because of obviously what happened at the very end. I guess I'm kind of with you on that. Plus Ruth is the best character in that show. I
She
think.
fucking rules, dude. She's way better than either of the birds. Any of the
Yes.
birds. Especially
Marty's
that
just
shithead kid.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Marty's just I guess we'll figure it out.
I mean, we might have to redraft all-time asshole characters from TV shows because I was all Team Skylar White forever, but I just
Obviously.
finished season 2 of Ted Lasso, and
Mhm.
boy, Nate is climbing that fucking list.
Dude, I remember season 2. I was just like, what an aggressive heel turn, because I'm rewatching that first season of Ted Lasso right now, and I loved Nate's character, to be honest.
You have to. He was
so
the underdog.
likable. He was the underdog. He was so likable, and then he busts out this black suit and just turns into this fucking know-it-all, and just like, dude, you need to pump the brakes. But
Was any
I'm
part of you pissed, like knowing that Ted Lasso, no matter what, if he killed Ted Lasso's dog, Ted Lasso would forgive him?
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
No, that's just in his DNA, man.
Fucking hate it. Whatever. Anyways, let's keep moving. Mark, what are you looking forward from Ozark? Does everybody just die in the end? Oh, you dork.
This is going up on the wall.
I think Mark is completely frozen at this point, so we'll just keep moving. Nope, everybody just dropped off. That's fun. Oh no, Brick's still here, just stepped away. Okay, we lost Mark, but we'll keep on going because I know you want to talk about The Contractor. This is Chris Pine and Ben Foster, along with Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland is not a name I thought I would see anytime soon.
Unless it's in the 24 franchise.
So tell me your thoughts. I know that you're excited to see them working together again.
Or I can't hear you. And you're gone. I think it might just be me. Things have gotten a little wonky.
Nope, I'm here.
We're all back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just need to re-add Mark. Sorry about that.
Mark's here. I see Mark here.
Yeah, but he's not on the stream.
Gotcha.
Anyways, talk about The Contractor while I fix all this.
Well, the last movie that we saw Ben Foster and Chris Pine together was Hell or High Water, and I fucking loved that movie.
Absolutely.
I just think they have great chemistry. And this one is got like dishonorably discharged from the military.
Honorable discharge, but they took away their pension.
Right. So I'm not sure how that works. Either way, yeah, they got screwed more or less because they got discharged and now they don't have any pensions. They don't have any money coming in. So they kind of have to go down this rogue route. And they basically do this undercover mission that definitely goes wrong. And looks like there's going to be some good action. I just love the chemistry between Ben Foster and Chris Pine. Chris Pine, one of my favorite Chris's in the film industry, obviously.
So many to choose from.
Oh yeah. But this looks good. It looks like the movie that I want to see from the bunch of that leaked, I guess, this week.
I don't know, man.
Was it Paramount Plus?
This premise, yes, it is, which is not a great sign necessarily, although I shouldn't cast aspersions without knowing. Obviously, it's got a star-studded crew, and I'll watch Chris Pine do anything. But, man, this story's been told a million times. It's always the ex-special ops guy who gets burned and has to do stuff for his family. And I just...
Fair enough.
Boy, I don't care.
It's a classic military trope. That's fine. Yeah, I just think with the actors involved, I also think that Paramount Plus is on the rise. I got it for 1883. I just started 1883 yesterday. Watched the first episode. People said it was slow. I think it started out at a good pace, to be honest. There's a lot of different action, but they are building newer characters involved in that show. And then we got Halo coming out in March. And then with this, I mean, they're making the right moves to have someone stay with, I guess, their online streaming platform. They're at least going for it, you know.
As long as they don't put it on more crappy Wahlberg movies, we'll be okay. Mark, you got any thoughts on this?
I'm just wondering how many times Chris Pine's going to either get double crossed, triple crossed, or quadruple crossed. What's the over under on double cross? Think he's going to be over double cross, maybe a triple?
Technically, that's 8.5 crosses, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the over.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. We're seeing a formula that is nothing new. Kind of reminds me of just a B type movie of Jason Bourne.
That's what these straight to streaming things are now. Is like we don't get B movies. We don't get straight to VHS anymore. They just go straight to streaming. Everything's a flat circle.
Yeah.
So
it's meh.
We haven't seen Ben Foster in anything recently, right? I mean,
you love Ben Foster.
The Survivor. I thought we were a Ben Foster podcast.
The success of this movie will be directly correlated to how unhinged his character is in this movie. And it seems like they're setting him up to be pretty unhinged. So we'll see. Okay. I don't have anything else to talk about in the news, so we're going to go to our recommendations now.
Here's some money. Go see a Star Wars.
All
right, Brick. What do you got?
Severance. New show on Apple TV. Directed by Ben Stiller. Adam Scott it's one of those shows. It's right, kind of reminds me a lot of Westworld, not the part where it's like a Western or anything like that. It's one of those shows. It's the mystery involved, and you can see and dissect the little things that they say as like characters, either in work or I guess I should back up a little bit. It's a show where you have a work life and a real life. And when you're in the office, you don't remember anything about your real life. But when you're out of the office, you don't remember anything about work. So you don't know anything about what you're doing for work. You just like kind of split that in two. And it's like odd and claustrophobic feeling when you're actually like watching it. There's 3 episodes out. New one comes out every Friday. But from what we've seen so far, there's a lot of putting things together, and there's a lot of like, I'm pausing it and talking with Krisky and Ashley about like what we think is going to happen and what we think that little thing that he said meant, and how does it correlate back to like what's really happening. And it's like one of those shows that you want to dissect and dive deep, and just like, because the first episode was good, second episode was like really good, and the third episode is like, I need more Severance immediately. It's one of those shows.
It sounds as though you're way more into it than I am. I've finished 75% of the first episode, and I like it. I like Adam Scott. I like that Ben Stiller is producing and all that. It seems you've got, Jesus from The Big Lebowski.
Right.
So, I mean, and yes, Mr. Deeds, and the big fat guy who's always the computer nerd and stuff. Whose name I don't ever know. I apologize. That's probably pretty rude of me, but it seems like it has potential. I just don't know that it did not grab me at first, and I'm surprised to hear you say that it grabbed you immediately.
No, I liked the first episode. I wasn't like immediately hooked with the first episode. I liked it as it unfolds, and the third episode, I'm just like, I just, because of how much we're talking about it and how much we're like dissecting it, it's just a lot more fun. I think from that third episode, you're just like, I want to know what the hell's going on.
The Westworld comp definitely makes sense then, because the best part of that show was definitely trying to speculate on what was going to happen.
Exactly.
It's probably made me think it was a lot better than it actually was, but sure. I've been trying to catch up on TV shows, obviously, as I mentioned, Ted Lasso, which we finished. I started Disenchantment. It's what it always has been. It's funny. I'm obviously a big fan of the adult animation type stuff. It's Matt Groening, so I'm going to watch it regardless. They're doing some interesting things, and it feels like they're wishing that they were making more Futurama, because it seems like they're just getting to make stuff more and more over the top and outlandish, which isn't necessarily a problem because it's animated. You can do whatever the hell you want. But I'm enjoying it thus far. Did you try to watch the After Party on Apple TV?
No, I have not started that yet, but it's on the list.
Eric and I tried the first episode, and we were just like, we both looked at each other like 20 minutes, and we're like, this is not good.
Damn, that's a bummer, because I like the concept of it where Sam Richardson is explaining there's a murder or something like that, or somebody dies at
Dave Franco gets murdered, or
okay.
I think he gets murdered. He's some pop star who falls over a cliff and is dead, and that's not a spoiler because that's how the show opens. So
Okay. And then each episode is a different telling of the actual story. And so Sam Richardson is explaining it as a rom-com. The next guy is explaining it as like an action thriller. The third person is like an anime. The fourth person is like a musical. It's that I find that to be a really interesting concept. It's a bummer that it's kind of it fell flat apparently.
I
in your
mean,
eyes
look,
so
I'm
far.
20 minutes into one episode, so who knows? It could get better. You're right, though. Tiffany Haddish is the lead detective, and it seems like basically you're just getting a series of different perspectives. So, star-studded cast, Ben Schwartz is in there, Ike Barinholtz, and a lot of other really funny people who you've seen in other sitcoms. I recognized one of the characters from The Good Place and a few others. So,
Yeah, Broad City.
yes, Lana Glazer. Yeah. So, Mark, what have you been watching?
Man, I really
been
didn't want to. Yeah, I've been reading. Talking about shows I've been watching, there's one I just got through or got caught up on with Kelly, and it's one I didn't want to like, but I actually have come to appreciate it more and more as I watch it, and that's Euphoria on HBO. Like looking at trailers for that show when it initially came out, I'm like, okay, they're just glorifying all the designer drug use amongst 17-year-old kids. And that's kind of what it was in like the first episode. And it does continue to go down that route because one character in specific, Zendaya's character, is a drug addict. But it's like a really intriguing show. And I don't think I've ever experienced a better edited show either. Like the way they edit the show and make it there's parts in the show where you're like, okay, that's obviously not real life. This is just being imagined by this character. But there's also parts that they slip in where it's like, oh, that actually didn't happen. That was just this character imagining it. But they do a lot of really good editing. It has a really good storyline. The characters in it are obviously fucked up. It's a very intense, dramatic type of like One Tree Hill, but way better show. Like
You just
way
like it
better
'cause
than
there's boobies.
there is a lot of nudity, which is uncomfortable. At first it was like, okay, but these are supposed to be 17, 16, well, mainly 17, 18-year-old kids, that are about to graduate high school. And no, the actors aren't 17, 18. They're like more like 24, 25, but still it's like, it seems a little excessive at times, the nudity, but overall I am enjoying it. I am caught up. I think it's like midway through season 2 right now. I would recommend this show though.
All right, fair enough. I guess we're probably going to be a little bit shorter this week because we're just talking Peacemaker and there wasn't a ton of news. Maybe we should just do a roundup on some of the stuff that we're looking forward to the most, because I know that Drive to Survive comes back next week officially, March 13th, I want to say. Mark, did you catch up, and are you excited for Formula One to come back?
I am excited, and I am caught up on Drive to Survive. What season is this? 3?
This will be 4, and this is going to
4,
follow this season that just concluded, which was an insane season. Very excited to see this. Even though we kind of know what happened, the big complaint from people who are diehard Formula One fans is that they watch Drive to Survive and they dramatize it because they want to make it interesting. Mm-hmm. So obviously they kind of like fan the flames a little bit and make a little bit of shit up, but I'm fine with that because I now know, like, I saw what happened, but now I can go back and see it maybe from a different and sensationalized perspective because this isn't something that's important. You can do that. So I'm very excited for that. I know Moon Knight's coming back soon. Brick, is there something you're waiting for?
Ah, man.
What about this game? You're ready to play Horizon Zero Dawn, right? Or have you already started?
You know what? I did just start that. I played maybe an hour or so into it, and I was a little worried because I didn't play the first one, but in the first 5 minutes, it pretty much explains everything that happened in the first one and like my goals moving forward and why I'm going west. And I think the Golden Gate Bridge might be in the first initial picture that you see there. So, learning from experience going there, being
So
a Golden Gate
well-traveled.
Bridge guy. That's so well traveled.
Been to both San Fran and Italy.
Did you go to Sausalito though? Sausalito is like that little town just over Golden Gate Bridge once you get over there from San Francisco.
No, I didn't.
Stop there?
We might have drove past it, but
Like
you pretty
Sonoma.
much
Have to.
Yeah, we came from Sonoma, which is like maybe an hour away from SF, as the locals call it.
San Fran.
Yeah.
Did you drink a little vino?
No, actually.
Coward. All right. Let's just go to our draft then.
Hey, Azrael, thanks for the subscription. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Love it.
All right, you heard the shitty NFL draft drop there, and we kind of caught up already. We need to go back and do some tallying, probably put out a post to see where we stand in the second season. Obviously, last week's result, since Brick wasn't here, won't count towards the totals, although I will remind everyone that Joe won. Bastard.
Hell yeah.
With his Mario pick. So this week, in honor of Peacemaker, who has a very badass animal sidekick, we decided that we were going to draft the best animal sidekicks. And we had a pretty heated debate before we came online here, talking about
10
whether we were
minutes
going to
before.
include sidekicks that aren't technically animals, like Pokemon
Pikachu.
or like a dragon from Game of Thrones. Like, yeah, those are picks that you could have made, but they're not real. So we're going to be specific this time around. We're going to stick to animals that are at least based on. So, like, you can do an animated one, right?
That talks.
An animated dog, sure. As long as it's based on a real animal. Like, you can point to an animal and be like, it's that.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick the order, I think,
Fine.
just because I technically won between us last week. So I'm going to make Mark go first. I'm going to go second. And then, Brick, you got to go third.
Okie dokie. Marcus Aurelius.
I'm going to go with the dire wolves from Game of Thrones.
That's not a bad pick. Are you going to elaborate on that, or are you just going to...
I actually almost didn't pick that because I was thinking, like, wait, yes, they are a canine, but aren't they like giant wolves? Technically, did they exist? I don't know, but I think
They
it still
did.
should count.
I
Okay.
think that
Yeah, I
they're...
love how he. Hang on, I
extinct.
love how
Brick's like,
Mark
"Fuck."
just goes like right into the. I don't even know if they're real, but I'm gonna pick them anyway. You fucking pussy. It
I'm
is
gonna go
one of the most
Pikachu.
famous prehistoric carnivores in North America. So
Oh, wow.
Are
Thank
they
you, Brick.
fully
So it wasn't
extinct, though, or did they just evolve technically into wolves?
it says it is extinct.
Wow.
Do we make him
Nice.
pick again?
Even better.
No, he
pick,
can.
though.
I
It
would
counts.
have picked it. I would have picked it. That's
It
fine.
could have been if it was an animal too. I think it should count. Like I could, if there was like a sidekick that was one of those giant elks that lived in Ireland, that can count. I
No,
guess.
because we're not gonna pick like dinosaurs.
Why not?
All
They
right, whatever.
existed.
Jesus Christ. Fine, I'll take
Fucking
Yoshi
dead.
then.
In what in like the
okay.
Super Mario animated series?
Terrible.
All right, that's
are,
not my.
Are you really taking Yoshi?
No, that
Final-
was making
final
a
pick.
point. That
Final
Yoshi's not.
answer?
Whatever. Fuck off.
God.
I'm gonna take. Man, I'm gonna save that one for last. So I'm gonna take the dog from I Am Legend because, boy, that one hit me hard. He is
Samantha.
literally is literally what keeps Will Smith sane throughout all of that, and then obviously he, spoiler alert, loses that, and that kind of pushes him over the edge. But also it drives him to do the right thing in the end. I think that the realization that he had to still care for others was there. So not only was it a plot device, but it was also a really cool dog and an excellent sidekick.
Yeah, she was the shit. And those were my first two picks for sure.
Bummer.
Yep. I am gonna go with Balto. Balto's a fucking badass.
Who's
know, the
he the
problem with-
sidekick to, though?
Yeah,
The
I was thinking.
the people that the guy who owns the sleigh.
Who we
I'm
don't
going to
even
let
get
you go
any
with this
background
because
on.
I think it's a horrible pick,
Yeah.
but sure.
Airbud.
Again, not
Airbud,
really a
same thing.
sidekick.
Same thing.
The
It's
movie is
like-
named after Airbud.
And Balto. But Airbud himself was the second to the little kid who was like pathetic at basketball. And they're like, well, let my dog play. And then the dog was like actually good. And then he got all cool and popular.
These aren't side. You know what? We've argued so many times about these fucking drafts that I really don't care
it.
anymore.
Suck my balls.
All right, I'm gonna take Donkey from Shrek
Damn
because
it.
that's easy and people love it and he's recognizable and it's Eddie Murphy and he's hilarious and actually a sidekick. You'll notice that the movie is not named Donkey; it's named Shrek.
Donkey.
I want to steal Donkey.
Wow.
Go ahead
That's a
and burn
bold-
that steel then.
Okay.
Yep. For the whole season, I can't steal again.
Okay, then I'm gonna take
Very
Milo
simple.
from The Mask.
Okay.
Good pick.
Fair.
He is literally the Deus Ex Machina in that film. He saves Jim Carrey's ass from, what was that guy? I wanted to call him Bruno. I don't think that was it. It's something with a B. No, that's not right. It doesn't matter. He's actually a really scary villain from when I was a kid. That face freaked me out every time. But, all right, Mark, you got one more since you stole from me.
Okay, I'm going to go with...
Oh, wait. Who was your first?
I would have had two anyways.
Yeah, so you have... Yeah, you get one. You have
First,
You get one more.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the Pitbull from John Wick.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a good pick either.
Why?
First of
So
all,
judgy.
he's barely. That's what we're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to shit on everybody else's picks. That's how it works.
But why?
Nice.
There were plenty of
nice.
scenes where the Pitbull actually made an impact and came into the scene to enter a fight. The ending when the Pitbull is just walking alongside him, even make that scene 10 times better.
I'm just thinking about, like, he's barely in the series altogether. It's mostly just John Wick. John Wick drops him off for the guy at the Continental Hotel to take care of him. He's just gone from a big part of the movie. The dogs that were actually helpful in that movie were Halle Berry's dogs. But
True.
so
Good
Still
training.
going with the Pitbull.
hey, you do you, buddy. It's just not a very good pick. So my third pick is going to be Abu from Aladdin.
I think Smithers might have won this one.
Thank you.
Took Donkey.
You guys are really bad at
did steal
shitting
Donkey.
on my picks.
Well, yeah, that's because you changed the draft 10 minutes.
Abu
before the
has that
draft and then
stupid
just changed
vest,
everything.
dude. That Abu honestly, besides him just being a good partner and stealing shit, he doesn't really do anything to benefit Aladdin.
He
I
actually
feel like-
fucks up by taking the whole lamp at the or he doesn't.
Yeah.
He actually, but then again, he gets a genie because of it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. A monkey dressed up in a fucking vest is adorable and hilarious.
Monkeys in human clothes win everything.
Yep.
Fuck Abu.
All right, Brick, you got your final two picks here.
Yep. I'm debating going just all main characters and just fucking up my draft completely. Oh man. I am just gonna go with do you guys remember the show? This is just my draft is fucked. Do you remember the show Wishbone? The time traveling dog?
Yeah, I mean, again, he was the main character of that
I
show.
know, that's why I'm going with it. I'm going with motherfucking Wishbone, dude.
Dude, at least get like pork chop or something from
Shut
a
the fuck
dog.
up.
Like, you're so bad at this.
And then I'm gonna
And
go with Scooby-Doo.
Okay,
Again.
that one actually works, even though the show is technically named Scooby-Doo. He was not the main
Scooby-Doo.
character, so that is an acceptable and somewhat good pick.
He was the main character. It's all about Scooby-Doo.
I mean, it's all about Scooby and Shaggy, but they didn't drive the plot along. They were just scared, and they would dope their way into finding out who the killer was somehow, or the robber or whatever. I guess there really weren't very many killers in Scooby-Doo.
I have so many different ones that would be so much better. Hilarious. We'll do honorable mentions after this.
Okay.
Worst draft ever.
I think I need to go with a pander pick here for my last pick, and I can't tell who I want to pander to. I think I'm just going to go with Hedwig from Harry Potter.
Ooh, botch.
I mean, just
Hedwig?
because you don't like Harry Potter doesn't mean that he doesn't have a massive fan base.
Harry Potter.
Also, owls are just cool. Who was your starter in Pokemon? Because I had to pick the owl. He's
Owls
the
aren't
cutest.
that cool.
Owls are
Mine was
fucking
the-
badass.
I picked
Mine
the one
was
that turned
the-
into a fucking samurai, dude.
Is that the guy with the flaming tail?
Pokemon Knuckles.
Don't do that on our fucking podcast. You're going to get us canceled. All right, Mark, give me your last pick.
This is. I'm trying to think if I want to pander to the anime community, which I don't think we have much of, or if I
What
want
are
to
you going to
pander.
pick? Ein?
No. Fine. I'm gonna go Hooch from Turner and Hooch.
It's a good one.
All right, fair enough. So, Brick, you wanted to go through. All right, I'll read the results here. So, Mark, a dire wolf. You stole Donkey from me because you're a piece of shit. The Pitbull from John Wick. not actual Pitbull, Mr. 305, and Hooch from Turner and Hooch. I had Samantha from I Am Legend, Milo from The Mask, Abu, the monkey from Aladdin, and Hedwig from Harry Potter. Brick, you had Balto, Airbud, Wishbone, and Scooby-Doo.
I'm so bad.
But somehow he's going to get votes because he's going to text everybody he knows.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter because this is not a big deal in the first place. But boy,
You might have won if they were the animal leaders in movies. You might have won that category.
lead animals in movies. Yeah.
What were some of your honorable mentions?
Baxter from Anchorman.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
Rocket Raccoon.
See, I would argue he's an alien.
Really?
He's
Okay.
a fucking. You can point
He's
to
a
the
raccoon.
the animal kingdom that he's part of, which is animalist, fucking
True.
raccoonist, whatever.
Very true, Brick.
I guess. I don't know. Doesn't really matter, I guess. What about Doug from Up?
That's a good one. But Doug is, I guess he does have a redeeming scene in the movie where he's just
the
not being
best,
annoying and
dude.
talking. Yeah, I mean, he's very nice but I'm looking for more of a sidekick that really makes an impact.
Brain from Inspector Gadget.
He was literally the only reason. Him and Penny are the only reasons that Inspector Gadget ever solved any crimes.
Exactly. Gromit.
That's a good one. I probably should not have missed that. What about Remy from Ratatouille? You could have picked that, Brick, because technically he's the main character.
I was gonna go
Who was
Remy,
in the
but
title though.
Remy was my third pick. But that's when Smithers was getting really up in arms about the whole being a leader type thing. So I didn't pick Remy because Remy is clearly a lead role in that movie.
I mean, Lassie is probably the obvious one, but who gives a shit about that show?
What about
too old? Not
Yeah.
enough people.
Smithers? What about Moro from Princess Mononoke? That was one I was going to pick and hope that I got a bunch of Studio Ghibli people to be like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's too niche.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think it's a good pick.
Raja was always good. Would Rafiki have worked, by the way, too? Sidekick.
Is he?
He's like just Simba.
To me, the
Or is he
sidekicks in that
old
movie, if
wise?
you're going to pick one, are Timon and Pumbaa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is a good. Those probably would have been good picks too, honestly.
But you got to pick one, though. You can't have them both, so you got to pick between Timon and Pumbaa and make your argument. Why? I go with Pumbaa because he's the funnier one. And Timon was just super neurotic and annoying.
Wait, so I only get one dire wolf? I don't get dire wolves? Nah.
Fuck that. You got to pick one. Yeah, you don't get every wolf under the fucking sun, you douchebag. All right, let's move
Fox
on.
from the Fox and Hound.
Brick,
Fantastic Bear.
this draft completely backfired on you, and I want to make it known to the listeners. Brick came up with this draft.
I thought it was a good draft. I just changed everything when you changed it for the last 10 minutes.
I didn't change anything. It was a simple, hey, you can't draft aliens, you can't draft Pokemon.
This is why we should probably be meeting earlier in the week to talk about this, but
We should let the
Shiloh,
Discord kind of decide
Max
these sort of
from the
things.
Grinch. Max from the Grinch would have been a good one.
yeah, actually the Grinch probably doesn't get away with anything if it isn't for Max too.
Mr. Bigglesworth, Austin Powers.
Mm-hmm. Another good one.
Dr. Evil wouldn't be as intimidating if he did not have Mr. Bigglesworth to pet.
I really didn't think Samantha was going to go number 2. I thought I was going to be able to sneak Samantha in there.
Azrael says Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas. That's a good one. But isn't
it's
that
a-
dog technically dead? Or I guess that counts.
Yeah,
still.
ghosts.
Or it's a ghost, right?
Dire
It's a
wolves
ghost.
are dead.
Yeah, so I guess a former ghost, a dog. It was a dog, I'm guessing, right?
My fucking brain's exploding.
Brian from Family Guy. We missed that one. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on. It's time to do our review.
Wishbone was a deep cut.
Too deep. Way too deep.
So, slow news week, slow movie week, but Peacemaker did just wrap up. So, let's definitely talk about that. Obviously, this is the show that's been on HBO Max, starring John Cena and written and directed by James Gunn. Currently at 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, 88% from fans. I'm surprised that critics like this because it is crass and good, and usually critics don't like that. So let's kind of set up the plot for this season, and we will probably get into spoilers, so if you haven't seen it at all, first of all, I'm guessing that we all heavily recommend it.
Yeah.
See it.
We're all going to say see it. Yeah, okay. So if you haven't caught this yet, you should absolutely check it out. But the premise of this is that Peacemaker is in prison, where we last saw him in The Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad. And that was because he killed Rick Flag, and obviously he's getting pulled out to do more dirty work, Suicide Squad-esque, Suicide Squad style here, because an alien invasion has come, and it's these small little aliens called butterflies that burrow into your brain and operate you like meat puppets, and they're trying to do things to take over the planet. Did I miss anything?
Nailed it.
Also, there's a pet eagle named Eagly. I'm surprised that he didn't make his way into the draft, because he had a strong showing in this. Oh, there goes Mark.
He did. I almost wanted to add Eagly, but I was going too strong on not drafting side characters, so I had to ixnay Eagly. He was awesome in this, though. He was hugging Peacemaker and just stupid shit that's like, I don't know. I just loved their stupid relationship because no one believed that was even that could even happen. Like who hugs an eagle doesn't hug a human being. That just doesn't happen. And
one of my favorite scenes was Autobio turning, and she was looking to Harcourt and saying I watched an eagle hug a man, and I took it as a sign. And Harcourt goes, "Why didn't you take it as a sign to get the fuck out of here?"
Right. After
because that's probably what I would have done too.
Yeah, I'm not here for that. This is insane.
So we might have actually lost Mark for good this time, but we'll see. We can keep going on this. I think
DC guy.
Yeah, he obviously really wanted to talk about this, but this is made, I think, by the cast. And obviously John Cena is your anchor here, and everything plays off of him. Did you watch the blooper reel that I sent you?
No, I did not.
It's incredible.
I liked it, and I wanted to. My favorite thing is bloopers. Bloopers is the best thing ever, actually. So
Yes.
I always watch Always Sunny bloopers. I always watch any sort of bloopers. I'm all here for because it's just hilarious to see people out of character and just try that one again. It's always great.
I think that John Cena is criminally underrated as a comedian because he's hilarious. And I think I need to re-add Mark now.
Yeah, it's great timing.
He has incredible timing. Yes.
And his character, he stayed in character the whole time, and it just the way he portrays Peacemaker is just really well done. I mean, the last episode I laughed out loud at least 3 times, and I actually had some feels in that show too because of the misfit gang that they kind of brought together, and how I guess they build their relationship and their characters throughout the story was just I really liked it. I thought it was better than The Suicide Squad, to be honest.
I want to argue, though, that everyone in this show probably should have died 8 times, and by the end of it, they all just walk away fine.
Sure. That's fair enough.
It's a comic book movie, TV show. I shouldn't give a shit. I'm just all right, come on.
I did the cameo at the end.
Yeah, all right. Mark is back. I want to get your take on this, obviously.
Last thing I heard when I came back was John Cena. Some of these episodes I'm watching him act and I'm like, he's a really good fucking actor. Him able to, he got pretty emotional in some scenes where I was like, wow, I've never seen that side of John Cena acting wise. Timing, comedic on the comedic front was perfect. I think that's what made a lot of the levity hit in this show. Very dark humor, but at the same time, you just had a star-studded cast. Freddie Strama as Adrian, I think, stood out amongst the rest. But yeah, I had really nothing bad to say about the show.
His character was so dumb. I loved it.
I was about to get to the point where I asked who your favorite character was, minus Vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
He was so stupid.
That's what was great about it.
Exactly. And he's actually a psychopath for all this. His rationale for things doesn't make any sense, but it's perfect because he's a psychopath. So I liked his character, and his dynamic between him and Peacemaker was fun.
When you say sociopath, that is the literal definition of a sociopath, because they have zero empathy and just oh yeah, let's fucking kill some people. And there's a really emotional scene where Peacemaker is about to pull the trigger and kill a kid. And he's like, I can't do this. And then Vigilante just walks up pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, savage.
All right, let's do this. Yeah, we can keep going through the cast here, though, because I thought Jennifer Holland as Harcourt was really good. she's never really played a big part in this before, but I don't recognize her from anything else. And obviously I should probably look that up, but Steve Agee as a good supporting role who is the punching bag. Robert Patrick plays an excellent, very hateable villain.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the utmost. So, I mean, it's very well cast, very well done. They didn't cheap out, HBO Max did not, on the production of this, which is huge. And I think that's because they had such confidence in James Gunn to come and deliver on something that was a relative unknown until Suicide Squad.
Newt Lee was great as Judo Master, too. Judo Master would just show up and just be inconvenient, but he was really fucking good at fighting and unusually strong too, which was weird.
He's
like
just like size. Eating Takis the whole time.
Yeah,
I thought those were Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
I don't know what they were, but it was
either way, they were Takis.
Yeah, so Jennifer Holland was apparently in Drake and Josh. That's funny. I'm just kind of looking through. Wow, she has been in some bad ones. The Rush Hour TV show, American Horror Story. Yeah, that's okay because she got a good role in this, and I think she kind of knocked it out of the park.
I appreciated the fact that you don't necessarily have to have seen the Suicide Squad 2 to follow this. I mean, you have the flashbacks with Brick Flag. You know, they do that a few times, and yes, it would be nice for you to go back and watch that movie first before getting into this to get some background on Peacemaker.
Wasn't good enough to watch first.
Yeah, but still, it's like a lot of my friends, they're not into the shit, and they always like whenever I try to recommend a show, whether it be Invincible, and especially if it's animated, they're like, "Fuck off, dude, we're not watching it." But usually there's one person that will bite, and they're like, "That was amazing." And this is a prime time example of a show like that where you don't have to feel like you need all this background on the DC universe. I would just recommend getting right into it, starting with the show, and I guarantee you're going to have a good time watching it.
There was a TikTok going around, like first time watching the intro for Peacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, what the fuck is this? And then like the third episode, you're just like fucking super into it. And it's like
you don't even get into it at all the first time. You're just sitting back like, what is this? But you're mesmerized. You're like, this is so stupid. And then about 2 to 3 times into it, you're like, all right, I'm kind of jamming to this right now.
You're doing the fucking stupid ass moves that are with it. It's so dumb, but I loved the intro.
We got to talk about this song though, because I'm reading through the lyrics and it's really upsetting to me because it makes zero fucking sense. Blind to what you'll soon become, the mirror lies, the whole world's wrong. But you dancing with your blinkers on, throw your dog the invisible bone. What the fuck does that mean?
I have no idea.
At first I thought throw your dog the invisible bone was a euphemism for masturbating, but that doesn't even make sense.
No. Why would it be invisible?
I'm flummoxed. And
Flummoxed.
Brick is defending it. I can tell he's reading through the lyrics right now, trying to figure
very
out.
subjective. I couldn't even find anything on it. Just subjective. Just it doesn't make any sense, which is just like this whole show doesn't really make any sense. Think about Vigilante's character 100%. Doesn't make any sense. It's just fucking there's always a good time to fucking rock.
It does have some of those messages in it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's about friendship, and I think that they did a really good job of developing characters that you don't initially care about, like Adebayo. I didn't care about her, but by the end, I'm like, oh, fuck. You know, like she's trying to be a good person. And yeah, I think that they James Gunn really fleshed these characters out really well and gave them depth.
And it's kind of odd to be in this, you know, timeline of all these shows and movies we've had lately and wanting to revolve, especially since this is current day, but revolve the soundtrack around hair metal in the 80s. And I thought the soundtrack in the show was just fucking great. And the majority of the songs were from artists I had no idea. Even the theme song is by Whhhhaats. I've never heard of that band.
Yeah.
And
you never will again.
I also liked how they had this theme song, but they also incorporated it throughout the show. Like in the last episode specifically, I remember where it was like, do you want to taste this? Like they brought it back, which they usually don't always do with theme songs.
I love that too. I got pumped when that happened. They're just like about basically storm the gates. And it's like, fuck yeah, let's go. And it's already, like I said, you watch that intro, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Now by that last episode, last scene, you're just like, oh, it was great. And I agree, they do add depth to a lot of those characters. Wow. Nolan in the cut.
That's what's going on in the household right now.
I got to say, though, I want them to do a new song and a new intro every season, which we are getting season 2 of that. So that's excellent news.
Got to stick to hair metal, though.
Yeah, that's totally fine. But I want them to choreograph a new dance. And I thought it was funny because John Cena was doing his press tour before this, and he's been on like Pardon My Take and all that stuff. And he was talking specifically about the scene that he does dancing in his underwear. That has to be so uncomfortable to do in front of a like sound stage full of people, and millions of people are probably going to see it.
And that was like the first episode too. Is like
Dude,
him dancing around in his underwear. So it's like first week on set, you're just like,
weren't you immediately hooked on this show though?
Oh yeah, plus they dropped the first 3 episodes, I think, right away, or first 2 maybe.
I mean, halfway through the first episode, I was just like, I'm gonna watch. I don't care what happens. I'm watching this.
Yeah, I got COVID that week, and I was like, well, sitting here watching Peacemaker, and I'm like, I am loving this shit, and just like sweating profusely.
Oh, thanks, COVID.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. What did you guys think of the subtle tie-ins to the DC universe?
I mean, they just keep calling Aquaman a fish fucker, so what's not to like about it?
Right, and I like, yeah, they're like, why aren't the Justice League coming in to help us? Like, this is their problem. They should be like doing it. And
you would think so, yeah.
Right, but it is covert ops and whatnot. So I don't know. I like how they have the regular Joe, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
in Peacemaker.
They haven't done anything like this with DC other than from an animated front. Like the Harley Quinn show does it all the time where it makes fun of these characters. But from a live action perspective, especially like ragging on a main character, we haven't really seen any of that. And Marvel is doing it somewhat with Deadpool. So I just appreciate that we're getting this R-rated show and they're not really holding back on all these really hyped up main characters that are getting all these big blockbuster movies. They're still leaning into them hard. And I think you need that. You need some levity in the DC world because they've been keeping it PG-13, trying to get as dark as possible. They just never had that humor factor come in. It's like, if you're going to get that dark, also have some kind of contrast to where you can just rip it apart as well.
They had to go steal a director from Marvel that could actually write comedy.
That's fine with me. Keep doing it. If it's working, just keep doing it. I don't care.
I will just watch anything that James Gunn does because he's incredible, and the stuff that he does is really good. It turns out great. Always has a great soundtrack. So yeah, not much else to say about that. What do you guys want to see in season 2? Do you think it's a new villain? Is this one quelled?
I think I just don't really want a behemoth of a alien species that is coming to take over the world. I want like a singular villain. And I thought that was maybe going to be Robert Patrick, but I was kind of getting sick of Robert Patrick, who didn't, just seeing this guy. You're like, I want to punch your face immediately.
He did have a really cool suit, though.
He did.
It was fucking like scary.
Even though it was very, very racist, looking suit.
That makes for a good villain, though. Like, clearly he's the piece of shit that,
It's easy to point at the guy with the Nazi beliefs and be like, he's the bad guy.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
but I'm not saying I don't want I'm not saying give us a big villain that we know from DC, but I would like more of a singular villain, like one person who maybe is lesser known.
That's not what James Gunn does, though. He doesn't bring in the big guy. He does no-name people and gives them big stories. So you're going to get some no-name villain that ends up being really cool, in my opinion.
Yeah. I just am sick of the cookie cutter. You have this new species that is coming to take over the world. Give me something different. They do that with Marvel. They've been doing it with DC. They did it with they somewhat did it with the Suicide Squad movie. He did it with that too.
Yeah, pulled it out of nowhere. Do we want to? I mean, I don't think it's really a spoiler what happens at the very end, right? Everybody knows it because DC fans are the worst and they're complaining about it.
If it's been over a week since it ended, I think you're in the clear for spoilers. I mean, for the most part, people are caught up. But right now, we can talk about it if we want to spoil it.
I'm so excited that they actually got 2 of the actual Justice League members to show up in Ezra Miller and Jason Momoa. I thought since they all did like the shadowy entrance, that was all we were going to get.
Same.
And it makes sense. Obviously, you didn't see Superman or Wonder Woman because I think that both of their contracts are currently up. But the fact that they came on, that they were willing to come onto this HBO Max show, and you can tell in an interview, John Cena is quoted. This is his interview. I'm forever grateful to Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller because they did us a huge solid by doing that, and they were able to put themselves in the limelight and get everybody talking. But they do so in a way where the joke's not on them. I would argue it was on Jason Momoa, but sure. And they did it for the good of their show, whether that was their intention or not. It really, really, really helped us, especially after 8 episodes of people being excited to put a stamp on it, yada, yada, yada. So I think that it's really good that somebody like him, who has the star power that he does, can come out and basically stand for things like this, because I think this mattered a lot, really. It gave it, I don't want to say seriousness, because none of this is serious and none of it matters, but it gives it some weight, right? Gives it stakes.
Yeah, and now they can actually evolve Peacemaker into that universe a little bit more. Now that it's not just kind of a standalone, because Suicide Squad, they talk about it, but they don't really bring in any of the other characters, the Justice League and whatnot. They don't actually have the physical actors in it. Now that we have that, we can, again, raise the stakes into having Peacemaker kind of involved in more of the, not the Justice League per se, but like, you know, evolving the villains in the show and raising the stakes.
Yeah. Mark, how did you feel about it?
To more so focus on your point about them jumping on, you know, the actors that didn't have contracts currently. I think more so they were for that because James Gunn seems like an amazing dude. I feel like a lot of people respect him, but everyone's just kind of sick of all the Jeff Johns shit. Him just trying to put his hand in everything. And he actually, I don't believe he was really a part of this show at all. And I'm sure they were like, thank God. Yeah, I'll fucking come on your show immediately, not deal with fucking Jeff Johns and his bullshit. But I do like to see that. I like that they're tying in these actors that we've been getting with the live action films into these shows, because it makes them seem more serious. And Marvel's been doing it, the Loki show, all of that. It makes you appreciate it more, but also gives you more of a reason to watch it. Because in my opinion, if I knew that I was watching a show that wouldn't tie in at all cinematically to like what they're doing with the films, I would be less so interested in it.
You mean like Swamp Thing, where they canceled it and then they expected you to still watch it?
Exactly. And I'm speaking more from a live action front, not like do whatever you want to do with animation. I'll watch that all day. But I'm just happy that James Gunn had this show and was able to get, you know, tie it in with what is happening from the DC universe film front.
I think the success of this show specifically is a great stepping stone in the right direction for where DC wants to be, because you've seen the success that Marvel's had with bringing all these shows in and then tying them into the movie franchise. And then I feel like with this actually being a good show, a funny show, and then getting the validity of the other actors that are going to be part of this cinematic universe involved in just a little cameo, just helps the validity of them going in the right direction.
Yep, I agree.
Well said.
Now, my question is, I just started watching Pennyworth. And we're watching Batman next week. Can't wait for Batman. DC's on a big rise, apparently.
We'll see.
Hopefully, yeah, hoping for it. What do we want to see from Batman, Mark?
The Batman?
Sure.
I want to see a lot of non-shaky cam fighting scenes, very well choreographed. I want to see a much different side of Bruce Wayne, which I think we're just looking at the trailers we're going to get with Pattinson. I mean, he looks super dark. Matt Reeves has come out. Yeah, Matt Reeves came out saying that there was a lot of influence from Kurt Cobain, which is kind of weird because you think of, it's just not really what you think of when you compare Bruce Wayne to something, you know, this really wealthy dude. But a different side to Bruce Wayne. I want to see a lot of Penguin. I don't know if we're going to get that. I don't know if we're going to get a lot of Colin Farrell, but I did see a trailer. Batman was mentioning the Iceberg Lounge. So hopefully you get some scenes there with the Penguin. Yeah, I just want to see a different side of Batman that we haven't had in the last 10, 15 years.
I'm excited for what they do with the Riddler, because I think the reason that The Dark Knight was so successful was it's like based in realism to a certain degree. And with the Joker being the villain, he was like a loose cannon who was just like willing to murder anybody. I think they have, from the trailers that we saw, the Riddler does feel like a Saw type, like murderer who's like really going to be like more sadistic and just like, I hope it's a little gory. And from watching Pennyworth on HBO, like that shit is fucking gory. It's gory. They're dropping F-bombs. Like
Peacemaker was gory as hell.
Peacemaker was gory as hell too. I'm happy that they're going this route, because it needs to be dark. It needs to be gritty for, I think, the Batman series to be successful. You watched Pennyworth, right, Mark?
No, I have not. It's
Really?
not CW, right?
No, it's HBO.
Really? I have not watched it.
I watched the first 3 episodes. I'm like hooked on it. It's really, really well done. I think it's very interesting story. Alfred Pennyworth is like a World War II vet.
Yeah.
And he's like meeting, just like the first episode's like an hour 10, hour 15. And I was like, I am so in on this universe that they're kind of building with this guy. It's already got renewed for season 3. There's 2 seasons already out. Each episode's an hour long. I think you're going to fucking love it, to be honest. I thought you recommended it a while back, but if you're going to start a show, dude, Pennyworth is actually, it's gory. It's gritty. It's what you want to see in a Batman film. And dude, Alfred's a fucking badass, dude.
Yeah.
It's wild. Didn't Alfred originally start off as a World War I vet, and then obviously as he got older, like pretty soon he's gonna have to be a Vietnam vet. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of his background was
right.
ex-military. A lot of different Batman runs. Yep.
Wild. Yeah, I just want to see a Batman who's not super cringy, and I'm worried that they might teeter onto that side of things, especially because it's Robert Pattinson, and they want to subvert what people think Batman is, and I just hope they don't fuck it up.
Cringy by what way? Like the voice, or by the way Pattinson just kind of gets super dark and emo with his role?
Like, you know how Jesse Eisenberg played Lex Luthor?
Yeah.
Like, that was cringy. So just don't make him a fucking weirdo.
They just botched the casting for all of this. And I also think the difference here is Batman is getting introduced in his own movie rather than Batman versus Superman, which was just the ultimate flop, right? That's how he got introduced the first time.
Affleck?
Batfleck.
I don't fucking remember how that started.
He didn't have his own original
Mark is
Batman
frozen
movie.
again.
Yes, you're right.
There he is.
You're right.
And so that was more of a Superman origin story rather than, it was like a Superman world, and then Batman kind of came into it. And Superman sucks as a fucking character.
Yeah, he's a boner. Are we going to see Batman's parents get murdered again?
No, we're not getting that in this movie.
God, I hope not.
According to
3
reports.
hours. Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully not. We've already seen it enough.
The last thing I'll say is I do hope that they, as a comic book reader, you know, the gatekeeping people of these movies, these superhero movies, the people that have been with the comic books and know all the lore to it, I do appreciate that what it seems like is that Matt Reeves has not given all these actors homework assignments, but has recommended them read specific runs of Batman, which are essential to like the
lore,
the year one type Batman that we get from Frank Miller and things like that. And a lot of the interviews, like with Zoe Kravitz, she mentions The Long Halloween and specific Batman runs. And I know like Christian Bale read up on Batman, but it sounds like they're really specific in the reading material that they kind of want to follow with this Batman and the Batman characters that we're going to get. And I hope they also take influence from other type of villains who are not really well known, like the Court of Owls or things like that. And it seems like Matt Reeves has done his homework and has done a good job at, you know, kind of guiding the cast as to what this movie should become. But we'll see. I'm done hyping this up.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
You really want this to be good, don't you?
I think everybody wants it to be good.
Next week, I'm just
It's
like,
Batman.
fuck.
All
I think
right.
it will be good.
Let's wrap this up. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This has been episode 284. I think I've actually caught the numbering right this time. Maybe not. Not that it matters. Thanks for tuning in. You can find us on all social media platforms at the Chumpcast. You can call or text us at 847-920-6107. Next week, Batman. So go check it out and come hang out in our Discord and talk about what you think about it. Very excited to be able to do that because that's where some of the good insight from like people like us get. You know, that's good discussion grounds. So come check it out. And
Amazing.
I guess until next time.
I just saw this little article, just a little headline for you. Colin Farrell went to Starbucks in his penguin makeup while filming the Batman. That must have probably been hilarious.
Supposedly his kids were like crying because he looked so fucking weird when they put on the makeup for him.
Perfect.
I
This
guess
is all
we'll
for
see.
next week. Little preview for next week, y'all.
Call that a
Jumps
tease
out.
in the business.
Motherfucker.
Ciao. Bella.